All right, our next question comes from Lisa. Lisa says, "Hi, Austin and Robert. Thank you so much for all the information and inspiration you provide. I've learned so much since starting your podcast, and my husband and I have made several improvements with how we manage our money. We are both in our mid-40s and have 2 young children. We're in the process of buying a house and selling our current one. The price difference is less than $100,000, and we have a good amount of equity in our current home where we only owe $55,000 on the loan. I have 2 questions. Question number 1, should we use all the equity and put it into the new house or take some out and invest it? And then question number 2 is, should we consider a 15, 20, or a 30-year mortgage when we do this? For more context, since 2023, we've now maxed out our Roth IRAs every year. We have about $500,000 in our 403Bs, and we have a 3-month emergency fund and contribute money to our 529 plans for each child. Thanks in advance for answering our question." Robert, you want to take this one?
Yes, I think it's a great question. I'm a little light on details to understand because when I hear that we have $500K in a 403B, what else do you have? It says that you've been contributing and maxing out the Roth, which is great. So you've got some decent money put away there. I'm always of the ilk, if I can make more money with my money, then I'm always going to borrow. And so in this situation, if getting this new home, I don't think it makes sense to put all of your equity into the new home because you're still likely going to get an interest rate right now or in the next couple months when you would do this purchase that is more affordable and is going to be lower than what you would make by investing that money. So let's say you get a 6.25% interest rate, but the S&P 500 is going to make you 12, 15% in the next couple of years. Then I always want that positive arbitrage on my money to go to me and not someone else. So I'd be careful there using all of the money from the sale and putting it into the new house because at the end of the day, you have to always remember that that money in the house, equity or not, is dead money until you sell the house, the next house. So I always like to make sure that I have as little of my own money into the house as possible if I can borrow at favorable rates.
Like, so you're saying that she'd have a higher mortgage payment every month? Like you'd elect for the higher payment?
Well, I would say based on this information, the price difference is less than $100,000, she says, and we have a good amount of equity in our current home owing $55K. So if the price difference is less than $100,000, and I'm assuming that a good amount of equity would be greater than $55K, so if it's $100K, $200K, $300K, whatever that is, let's say it's $200K, because we don't know the price of the house and the value or any of that stuff, I would maybe look at taking $100K and investing it and $100K to make the difference so they would keep the same price of mortgage. So they wouldn't be raising their monthly expenses. And then I think it's a better position than getting in a situation where they put all $200K towards the new home to lower their mortgage payment, because I'd rather see the $100,000 invested in the markets and in the funds we talk about.
Okay, so Robert, can you walk through sort of the math on that, right? Because it's like, let's say again, $300,000 house, they owe $55,000. So let's say after fees and stuff, they have $220,000 left. They want to go buy a house that's now $400,000. So you're saying maybe take $100 of that as a down payment on the $400,000 house. Now they have a mortgage of $300,000 at 6-ish%. So let's call it $2,500 a month that they'd be paying in a mortgage here, versus where if they took an additional $120, maybe their mortgage would come down to $2,000, $1,800 a month. So like, walk me through how all of this works in the situation where they kind of split up the investing. And also with the investing, are you saying they just put it in a bridge account, right? That money is now just sitting elsewhere?
Yeah, I love that. You're right. I think the bridge account, I just look at it this way from rudimentary math. If I'm going to get $200,000 from this sale, rather than dumping all $200,000 into the new home, I would rather see them split it up to where $100,000 or $120,000 goes into the bridge account, and then the $100,000 goes into the new home to offset the increase of price of $100,000 roughly. Because where I see the numbers going is they're going to have some capital appreciation in the new house, probably 3 to 5, maybe 6%. But over here in the market, in that bridge account, let's say that earns 10, 11, 12% a year. This is just a greater arbitrage on their money, in my opinion, having some over here and having that bridge account established versus tying up all of the money in a new house, because then again, it becomes illiquid. They don't have access to it. They can't use it for anything. And I just always want to see the difference. And right now, yes, rates are still high, but I believe in the coming months, we're going to see those rates start to drop a little bit more. And from that, I think the better play is to split up the equity that they get back and put it in both, because in that way they're not increasing their monthly expenses, but they're also making more on this side with the bridge account.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. I'm right there with you. I think that's a great explanation and a great way to approach it, especially, they're in their 40s, they've got $500,000, all this equity they have in their house. They might even be close to being net worth millionaires. But again, want to remind people the difference between being a net worth millionaire and someone who can retire early is access to that capital. I guess what we're trying to say is having that money sitting in a bridge account that you can touch without penalty is pretty important, especially if you want to retire early one day.